Next is the design phase. Now here in design phase, you establish the different potential solutions or approaches that you want to implement for the product or project and prioritize them. Now that you have more insights about the project and you have implemented the exploratory data analysis, you can take a decision call on whether a proof of concept is required to study the feasibility of building the solution itself. Sometimes it might be the case that you might not have the sufficient data to actually go ahead and build your solution itself, or that your solution might be able to meet the success criteria of the entire project, or your project might be scheduled to be implemented for a lot of different products or phases in your organization. You want to try it out on one small piece before scaling up to all the different products in your organization. For example, in this particular case, in housing price prediction, it might be the case that your firm wants to implement the solution globally for all the different regions in which your organization has presence. You might want to start off building the solution for a particular city in your country. Maybe you pick a country and do this solution for that particular city. On the success of that city, of the success of that solution in that particular city, you can go ahead and scale it to other cities in your country, and then go ahead and scale it to other countries also. So in that scenario, you might want to first do the POC on that particular city and then scale it up. This is entirely a decision call, right? If you are very confident that, okay, I want to implement it for the entire country or entire globe, that might also be something that might be feasible, but that is a decision on the business and the data scientists combined together. So what are all the different decisions involved in design phase? How is it different from the discover phase? Now, previously in discover phase, you have done the literature review of what are all the different possible solutions that is already existing. Now, here in design, you make up your mind on what sort of libraries that you want to use, what sort of algorithms that you want to implement. If there is some algorithm that you want to customize and modify, you want to make your mind on that also. You need to plan for that also. You also want to decide on what are all the different final outputs and the format of the outputs your project will produce. Whether you're going to share your output in an Excel sheet, a spreadsheet format, is it going to be in a dashboard? Is it going to be as a front end for the end user to consume it? And also, how are you going to evaluate your machine learning models that you're going to build? All those different aspects you need to think, and this forms the design phase of your project. Now, these are various things that you will think about as a machine learning engineer who actually develops the solution, right? Now, if you are leading this project where multiple machine learning engineers might be involved, or it might be the case that you are the engineer, you will also be the lead or the data scientist involved, right? It's all done by the same person. If that is the case, you also need to think about what sort of development environment to use, the ML and project architecture interaction. That might be a software engineering component, that might be a machine learning component. How are these two going to interact with each other? You need to think about this. What is going to be the model retraining frequency? That is, you are going to build a machine learning model. In what frequency are you going to update that model? You can decide it now itself. You can do it now, you can do it later also, actually. All right, this is an optional step. You can also fix the scope of the project. What is going to be the deliverable and what is not going to be part of the scope of the project needs to be made very clear in this particular case. Also, what are all the different boundary conditions within which the project is supposed to be successful, and what are the different conditions in which the solution can fail? Those also you can decide in this phase. These are all part of the data science leads work, right? If you are the engineer also, you can do this part also. Now, as a project lead, you want to think about what are all the different phases of execution. Now, these things are totally optional, but it's good to know. You also need to think about the stakeholders involved, communication plan, resource planning and budgeting, the roles and responsibilities of various team members that you're going to be working with. These are all additional project management related stuff. But the core piece here out of the design phase, the core piece is in this part where you decide on what are all the different libraries, algorithms, and the final outputs and the format of the outputs.